And a welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Hope you're having yourselves a fantastic morning this morning. We are always happy to be here with you where sports meets life on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So happy to be here with you, hanging out inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios. Great Lakes Honda City, coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. You can visit Great Lakes Honda City Monday through Saturday for sales and service. And you can see their new and used vehicles to buy and to lease. You do it at Great Lakes Honda City. Make sure you let them know that DT sent you, and you can head over to GreatLakesHondaCity.com and get a sneak peek of everything ahead of you heading over there. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is with you on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCall DT, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com Monday through Friday between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. Eastern Time. So wherever you are and however you're tuned in, we thank you so much. You can go to the homepage of wakeupcalldt.com and you will actually find every single one of these outlets as well. Right at the top of the page, it will let you know on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage that you can listen and watch on YouTube as well as on Facebook. And you can listen on Podbean, internet streaming, radio, and you can click on any one of those avenues from our wakeupcalldt.com homepage right at the top underneath Wake Up Call's name. So make sure that you know that, and we appreciate you being here. Of course, it's a Monday, so we got Murph, and we are here inside of Ma and Pa's Popcorn.com's What's Poppin'. Murph and I are going to be talking about some Major League Baseball topics as we are over 120 games into the regular season for 2025. We'll jump into some NFL topics too as we're in week 2 of the preseason. How about this for the Jaguars? They play a team, and then after they play the team that they played yesterday, that being the Saints, they turn around and said, hey, give us one of your offensive linemen. And they made that deal work. How crazy is that? And then we'll jump into show and tell for sports cards, proudly presented by GG Cards and Breaks. And your boy has got a few cards to show you today. And I was just going through stuff, cleaning out stuff, making sure. I mean, I did buy some things, so those things are going to be here. But I also did 2 box breaks yesterday. You can go and check those out by going to Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, X at CallDT, Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT, or YouTube.com /WakeUpCallDT. Our card break channel, on our YouTube channel, our card break playlist is there for you as well. So you can go back and watch all of our previous card breaks, be it a pack or a box or both. You can check those out. But I did 2 when it came to the world of the NBA. We did 2021-22 NBA Panini Chronicles and 2024-25 Topps Chrome for the NBA, and got some good stuff. So I'll be showcasing the best things I got out of there today, plus the stuff that I found in a box, a blaster box, that I forgot that I opened for Mosaic, and it had some really good cards in there. So we're going to have to talk about those too. A lot of great stuff coming up, presented by GG Cards and Breaks, and of course, happy to be here with you. I do want to make a note that on September 1st, we'll be announcing not 1, not 2, but 3 partners to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. The newest members of the Wake Up Call family are coming to you, and I may have a special note about one of them 2 days before because their connection to Syracuse sports. But there's actually 2 of them that are connected to Syracuse sports. And when you think about it, there's actually 3 of them that are connected to Syracuse sports. So it's been very hard for me to keep this in, but there's a lot of great things coming up. And by the grace of God, we will be able to welcome them to our family. So I'm very excited for that and excited for you to know it. And I thank God for it, truly. With that being said, we got Murphalation Station for the nation. He is here with us picture in picture, wheeling and dealing. He's got a trade night every other day. He's going to have one while we're on commercial break. He did one at 5 a.m. this morning, and he'll be doing one tonight, probably for 3 or 4 hours. He's taking over McDonald's, Wendy's. Dude is doing them on the side of the road. He did one during a flight. Crazy. This man's all over the place. Murph, how we doing?
I'm doing good, my friend. I haven't been doing them quite that often, but
You
No,
will
we'll
be.
probably still have our weekly Wendy's trade night at some point this week. Met a couple new people at a show yesterday that we brought that up to. So um, maybe we end up getting some more guys to come down with us to that, and yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm excited to hop on the show again, and like we do every Monday, and talk some sports. I'm just happy that the weather is a lot nicer today
Yes.
because, as you all know, it's been in the mid to high 90s the
Yeah.
whole last week,
Yeah.
and I had to work outside 4 of those days, and I was dying. So I am so relieved that, knock on wood, the rest of this week looks like it's going to be low to mid 70s, perfect golf weather, and I don't have to work till Friday. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, man. I'm happy that you have the opportunity that we are that that's I'm happy that you get better weather. I'm happy that we have better weather up here as well, that we're in a position right now where we can enjoy what's going on and just I mean go outside last night, let my dog out, walk out with her and be out there with her under the stars and not feel like you're gasping for air. People that don't believe in global warming, Syracuse, New York has had like more 90s and high 80s days than we've had 70s days in a month. So I
Oh,
mean,
it's
it
insane.
genuinely feels
We're the
like
same
I'm
way.
still living in Florida, which has been crazy and very intense. But I'm happy to be here with you all, and Murph and I are happy to have cooler days ahead. So that's a good thing. We're all good with it, happy to have it. And with that being said, I do want to jump into some of our Major League Baseball topics here this morning. And one of the things that I want to go to first and foremost here, Murph, and kind of let you unleash your thoughts is, your Mets. I know you're wearing some Mets gear right now, so I want to give you an opportunity to speak on your Mets and what you think, what's going on, how you feel this morning as you wake up, and just kind of what's on your mind as we look at the New York Metropolitans.
Yeah, I mean, obviously last week I was, as you know, pretty frustrated with what was happening with this team. And since we last spoke, Pete Alonso did break the Mets all-time home run record, so congratulations to Pete for that. Um, but yeah, it's been one of those things where it, things have gotten better this week. We actually won a series for the first time in what feels like an eternity. Um, and they beat a pretty good team in the Seattle Mariners, who are putting themselves in position to make a playoff run in the American League. So I'm happy to see that they won that series. I kind of want to go into the Little League Classic first before we go into the rest of the week. But um, if you've never watched the Little League Classic before or seen the things that happen throughout the day, obviously we got the Little League World Series going on about 2 hours west of where I'm sitting as we speak, in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, and you're kind of seeing the players at all these Little League games throughout the day, hanging out with players from a bunch of different teams that aren't actively playing, and it's really cool, and it's fun to see the kids seemingly really enjoy it. The Little League Classic is only open to players and their families, so basically it's just Little Leaguers that are at the game, and it's a really cool thing to watch. They get to enjoy themselves, and I'm willing to bet that there's some of these international kids that have never gotten to see a Major League Baseball game, so they get to see it for the first time on American soil, and it's got to be a pretty cool experience for them, I would think. It would have been something I would have loved to do when I was a kid, but we never made it out of district play when I was in Little League. So, but yeah, it was a lot of fun to watch. The players love it. It was Players Weekend this weekend, so you got to see some of the players, showcasing their style and things like that. They had like cool designs on their bats. Like I know Cal Raleigh had big dumper on his bat with a couple other little things that were written on there. And also, ESPN, I never knew this before, they do a kids cast for the Little League Classic. They had two 17-year-old kids from Long Island,
Yeah.
and and there was another 14-year-old girl that was on the broadcast. I don't remember where she said she was from, but I didn't watch the ESPN broadcast because I can't stand them. Carl Ravitch, Eduardo Perez, like these. I'm so glad that ESPN is losing baseball because they're announcing their broadcast team for baseball is horrendous. Bring me back Matt Vesgersian and Alex Rodriguez any day of the week. But yeah, the kids cast was awesome. I guess these kids are aspiring broadcasters, and if you listen to some of their home run calls, they were really good on both sides. And I'm sure these guys are probably Mets or Yankees fans, both living out on Long Island, and probably don't know a whole lot about the Seattle Mariners. But I thought their broadcast was excellent. Obviously, there were some things that were messed up at times. They're 17-year-old kids. I'm not going to hold that against them. But I would watch that broadcast again and again and again. I think they did an excellent job. I think it is something that ESPN very much deserves credit for. And I would love to see these kids on a real broadcast, in a real broadcast booth at some point later in their lives. And we've kind of seen that over time with like the Nickelodeon broadcasts in the NFL, where Ian Eagle's son Noah Eagle, would broadcast the games. And Noah Eagle wasn't a kid by any means. He was young, but he wasn't. It's not like he was a 16-year-old kid broadcasting the game. But Noah Eagle, you're starting to see now, is getting gigs with the NFL, doing more games with CBS, or I would assume with CBS because that's the network his father works for. But it's something that these kids can kind of use as a platform to build their own brand and build themselves towards, broadcasting at the next level, which I think is really cool. And believe me, I would have loved to have done that when I was 17 years old, but obviously I'm a little too old for that now. But the Mets as a whole this week, we got to see one of the three stud pitchers, pitching prospects come up, and Nolan McLean, who looked really good on Saturday afternoon at Citi Field. His sweeper is like a frisbee.
Yeah.
It's the first pitch that I've seen in quite some time that like truly reminds me of Jose Fernandez's slurve or slider or whatever the heck that was. That pitch was one of the greatest pitches I've ever seen. And obviously it went with him when he died in that boating accident, almost 10 years ago now. But his sweeper, the first at bat, Randy Arozarena had like a half swing and then he took it one, and it looked really bad. Randy Arozarena gave you the old "what's on your shirt" at that pitch. So yeah, it was bizarre. Only two pitchers in Mets history have ever struck out 8 and gone 5 scoreless in their major league debut, and the other to do that was Matt Harvey. So that's some good company to be in for Nolan McLean. His next start will come against the Atlanta Braves in Atlanta this weekend. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing how he does. Mets, I believe, are going on the road this week. I think they play the Nationals, if I'm not mistaken, who I think, if I can remember correctly, they kind of took care of business with the Phillies and split that series with them, which realistically the Nationals splitting a series with the Phillies is a good thing.
Yeah.
Both for the Mets and for the Nationals, because the Nationals are not exactly a team that is doing all that well this year. So the Mets played 3 against the Nationals. this week, and then they go down to Atlanta to play the Braves over the weekend. That is going to be really interesting because they lost 2 out of 3 to the Braves over at the beginning of this week after Alonso broke the home run record. They did not look good. Pitching staff has been terrible. But the last 3 games, we've gotten some more length out of our starting pitching. Is Nolan McLean going to come up and be a spark? Who knows? I still think at some point you got to consider taking Clay Holmes out of the rotation. I was saying this watching the game last night. He was starting to get himself into trouble in the 4th inning. And in my head, I'm like, well, it's the 4th inning. Here we go again.
Yeah.
So it's what he's been doing all year long, or all in the last few weeks. So Clay Holmes, I think, is a guy that you're going to have to consider putting back in the bullpen for the stretch run. And then you got Brandon Sproat in AAA that might need to, see a couple starts with this team in September. We'll see what happens there, but I'm a little more optimistic this week than I was last week. I'm cautiously optimistic because anything can happen. If you quote Major League here, they won one Saturday and they said, well, if we win one today, that's 2 in a row. We win one on Tuesday, that's called a winning streak. Yes, it has happened before. It was not so long ago that the Mets won 7 in a row out west. And this team could easily go back to them. Can easily go back to that. So I'm a little, like I said, I'm a little more cautiously optimistic, but I'm intrigued to see what happens this week. Who knows what's going to happen the rest of the year? I do still think they're going to make the playoffs, but it's one of those things that they went through a really bad stretch.
Yeah.
I don't see them making a deep run this year, but you never know.
Yeah, I mean they had a game lead over the Cincinnati Reds. They now have a game and a half. So the Reds have kept it close with the Mets. The Mets are 3-7 in their last 10.
Well, the Mets have let them back in.
Yeah, and the Reds are 5-5. Then we look at the Padres, and the Cubs are above the Mets in the wild card, leading the NL. Still the Milwaukee Brewers, followed by the Los Angeles Dodgers, the Philadelphia Phillies. After that, Phillies.
The Brewers haven't lost in 2 weeks.
No, the Brewers.
They have not lost a game in the month of August.
Yeah, they're 9-1 in their last 10. And
they did. Who did they finally lost?
Yeah, they did lose. They're 78-45.
They lost to the Reds.
Keepers are the best record in baseball. And on the other side, the Toronto Blue Jays continue to lead the way, not just in the AL East, but in the American League overall. They have the most wins with the Detroit Tigers in the American League, 73 wins. Toronto 73-52. The Tigers chomping at the bit here, 73-53. They're right there. Houston Astros 69-55. And then leading the charge of the wild card, that team that some thought might have packed it in for the season absolutely did not, the Boston Red Sox, followed by the Seattle Mariners, and the New York Yankees are now 3.5 games ahead of the Cleveland Guardians when it was a heck of a lot closer just a few days ago. The Yankees are 7-3 in their last 10 games, the exact opposite of the New York Mets in the last 10. So interesting to see what goes on from here. I know that Jason just wrote in here to us. I said, breaking news, ESPN reporting that Syracuse has named their starting quarterback. And I mean, if this does hold true, and I did state to people here, Steve Angeli, the Notre Dame transfer, been named the starting quarterback according to Pete Thamel of ESPN, and stating that he will be against Tennessee in the opener. I reminded people that Fran Brown will be addressing us today as we have a press conference that was previously scheduled, has nothing to do with this Steve Angeli news, if it's true or not true. This has nothing to do with the fact that we are meant to speak with Fran tonight. And, of course, I will be there at the event by the grace of God, and I'll have the opportunity to speak with Fran. So stay tuned to see what Fran Brown has to say today. with this news coming out within the last few minutes that Steve Angeli will be starting over Ricky Collins Jr. Ricky Collins transferred into Syracuse. I got to break the news to everyone that he was with the team at the Holiday Bowl, the DirecTV Holiday Bowl in San Diego, California, that he did travel with the team for their bowl game in December and was practicing with the team. And then he did obviously enroll early. He was with Syracuse in the spring practice that they had, and the former LSU backup quarterback, Ricky Collins Jr., a lot of people paying a lot of attention to him, and then all of a sudden they got a shiny new toy in Steve Angeli, and they've been paying a lot of attention to Steve, and I feel bad for Ricky because it was like people were so excited, oh, what's Ricky going to do, what's Ricky going to do, and looking at him in the spring, and I could send out a video of him throwing, like literally 5 seconds of him throwing the ball, and the thing would have 10,000, 20,000 people on it, and people going nuts over it. Then all of a sudden Angeli came in, and people were going nuts over Steve Angeli, and they've both been fighting. And from everything that I can tell you, we have been told repeatedly by head coach Fran Brown, by offensive coordinator Jeff Nixon, by defensive coordinator Elijah Robinson, that this was still a race. And from everything that I've heard from my sources that I trust, during those scrimmages that the media is not allowed to see, I've been told that they were neck and neck as of last week. They just had a scrimmage this past weekend, and so we'll see what Fran has to say, if he's going with number 9 or number 10. Angeli is number 9. Ricky Collins is number 10. And so we will be looking at this and, of course, monitoring what's going on here, as Syracuse's game week is actually next week, as they will be down in one of 2 games that'll be played for the Aflac kickoff game. They are the first on Saturday, August 30th. They'll be facing off against 24-ranked Tennessee, and then the next day we will have Virginia Tech and South Carolina ranked in the nation's top 25. So the Aflac kickoff game that planned this 2 years ago actually ended up with 2 ranked teams. So a lot of good stuff here. And if Steve Angeli is the starter, they end up with someone who was in the college football playoff playing in a game in Steve Angeli, who had to fill in for Riley Leonard for a short time during the game against Penn State that Notre Dame won 27-24. And in that game, Steve Angeli went 6 of 7 and did a tremendous job as the backup quarterback. So we shall see, but as I'm looking at this morning, letting you know that head coach Fran Brown is set to speak with the media in a previously scheduled press conference today. And I cannot tell you when practice is because we're not allowed to report that. And I cannot tell you when the press conference is going to be because we're not allowed to report that either. I can tell you that it's happening today, and I can tell you that I will be there. And I can tell you that Fran has been asked a million times over about his quarterbacks. And with this coming out this morning, he will, of course, I'm sure, have some comments to make. So you know that if they're not my sources, I will not throw down a direct confirmation. I don't confirm unless it comes to me or it comes through someone to me that I trust. So all I can tell you this morning is what is being said, and I can tell you that I will be around Fran Brown later today, and I look forward to seeing what he has to say then. We're going to take a quick step aside here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life, and we will be back inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios right after this fast break with more to come. A lot of Major League Baseball talk as well as going to the NFL, and plenty of things to discuss with Murph this morning right after this.
Avicoli's restaurant, located on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, has been serving our community for decades. Your place to go for home cooking on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road is just minutes from Liverpool High School. And every single month, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is on site, on location, with Liverpool sports, student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories throughout the year. We look forward to seeing you on site at Avicoli's for their casual pizza side, their fine dining, as well as their bar. And of course, you can order online at myavicollis.com. That's myavicollis.com. For takeout, delivery, and catering, call 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. Come on into the neighborhood spot, Avicoli's, open 7 days a week in Liverpool, New York. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is your home away from home for your furry loving friends. Open 7 days a week with drop off and pickup times in the morning and later on in the day and early evening. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is the spot to trust with your dog for short and long-term stays. Call 315-299-4013 for more information. That's 315-299-4013, and go to k9campground.com as well. That's K9, KAMP, ground.com, where you will find all of the information on their different cabins, which include the classic cabin, executive cabin, grand cabin, and luxury cabin. K9 Campground Dog Boarding, where your dog will have indoor and outdoor areas as well as their own private cabin for any size, any breed, as well as dogs with different needs. Dog parents and dogs alike choose K9 Campground Dog Boarding. Isn't that right, Lily? Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Happy to be here with you every Monday through Friday between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. Eastern Time here inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Murph is with me, as it is a Murph Monday, and we are here to talk about a lot of different things within the baseball and football world, as well as getting to our sports card show and tell. The first thing that I want to get into, now that we've talked about these New York Metropolitans, who just defeated the Mariners here yesterday, which is huge because the Mariners are obviously in the wild card hunt in the American League, as the Mets are doing that in the National League. So that was a big win that they had. Do want to make a note here. You mentioned this guy when you were talking about the Little League World Series, Cal Raleigh. He's nearing Perez's catcher record. So I want to make a note on this. Cal Raleigh autographed a toilet seat for one fan, along with the scores of baseballs and other paraphernalia. The Big Dumper signed for shrieking Little Leaguers, as you had stated. Now, Raleigh gave the kids a real treat. Hours later, the Mariners slugger socked his 47th home run of the season to boost his major league lead and put him within striking distance of the season homer record for catchers, which was set by Kansas City's Salvador Perez. Now, quote, "He continues to swing a really hot bat," end quote, said Mariners manager Dan Wilson. Quote, "I don't think I'll ever get tired of that," end quote. Raleigh's two-run shot in the seventh inning sent hundreds of Little Leaguers from around the world cheering in delight to see what he's doing here. And that was in Sunday's Major League Baseball Little League Classic between the Seattle Mariners and the New York Mets. It didn't help that the Mariners obviously ended up losing this game, like I said, 7-3, but the Mariners are still in the thick of the AL wildcard race, as I had stated, and Raleigh could make catching history in Philadelphia, Jerry. Perez hit 48 home runs for the Royals in 2021, which is the most home runs hit in a season by a catcher in Major League Baseball history. And so at 47, Cal Raleigh could be breaking the record in Philadelphia. So your thoughts, Murph, on Cal Raleigh? I know we talk about Mike Piazza a lot, the New York Mets former catcher, and obviously a fave of yours, and one of my favorites, my favorite catcher growing up as a kid. And before I even I knew Mr. Murph. So Mike Piazza we talk about a lot. Now we're looking at Cal Raleigh and what he has done, and seemingly is going to break this record, could break it quickly, and could be the catcher with the most home runs ever in a season, passing Salvador Perez of Kansas City, who did it in 2021. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it's impressive. And, for years we've known Cal Raleigh was a very good catcher. He was one of the better ones in baseball. Was always a very good power hitter. He won a Platinum Glove last year, which is telling you that he is an excellent defensive catcher as well. If he keeps this up, in terms of maybe not just past this season, but into the future for a few years, he might go down as one of the greatest multi-dimensional catchers in recent memory, or ever for that matter, because there really hasn't been a catcher with prolific power like this and as good a hitter as he is, that is as good a defender as he is. Yadier Molina, as great of a defender as he was never a big hitter. I mean, he was always like a 260 hitter, hit 15, 20 home runs at most in a season, and that was that. And he won, I think, 10 Gold Gloves or something like that behind the plate. Cal Raleigh is doing something we've never seen before. Not necessarily just from a catcher, but from a hitter in general. Somebody being able to show that they are as great defensively as they are with the bat. This is a guy that's going to break the all-time home run record for catchers, which was only set a few years ago, obviously, as you said. This guy might get to 60. That would be unprecedented. If he gets to 60, he is your unanimous American League most valuable player. I don't want to hear about Aaron Judge and the Yankees. I don't want to hear about Bobby Witt Jr. and the Royals. I don't want to hear it, because it would be far and away Cal Raleigh. And you could say all you want about Aaron Judge. You were talking beginning of the year like, oh, he might win the Triple Crown and whatnot.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, he's leading the league in batting average. He hasn't hit 40 home runs yet. Cal Raleigh, now granted, he missed 2 weeks with injuries, but Cal Raleigh's got the most home runs in baseball, and he's tied for first in RBI. OPS at 958, which is third in all of baseball. It's pretty ridiculous what he's doing. As of right now, his season-long projection is 61 home runs and 132 RBI. As of now, I don't know if he's the betting favorite for MVP, but if he's not, he should be. Cal Raleigh is ridiculous this year. I'm going to check DraftKings right now to see if he is in fact the betting favorite. But here we go. Awards. No, he's not. Aaron Judge is still the betting favorite. Folks, if you want what I would argue is a guaranteed win, go bet on Cal Raleigh to win the AL MVP. Seriously, go do it. 47 home runs, projected to get to 61, even if he doesn't get to 60. Even if he hits 56, 57, 58.
Yeah.
Judge isn't going to... Judge will be lucky to sniff 50 this year. Yeah, he's going to hit 330, but Cal Raleigh has single-handedly helped his team get into the playoff race. Now, if they miss the playoffs, maybe you consider Judge. But at the same time, I'm not looking at that at all. I'm seeing a guy that is absolutely dominating baseball.
Yeah.
And he's played unreal, and he's doing great for his team. And can I also point out in the National League that Kyle Schwarber has a legitimate case for most valuable player? 43 home runs, tied for second in baseball. 248 at batting average, which is low, but for him, it's unreal. 102 RBIs, tied with Cal Raleigh for first in Major League Baseball, 945 OPS, and the Phillies are in first place. Ohtani has still been good. 283 average, 43 home runs, 80 RBI. Like, that's still pretty good.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's got his pitching stats now that you can look at, but, I mean, this year, as far as Where are his pitching stats? Here we go. This year, as far as pitching is concerned, I mean, he's pitching to a 3.47 ERA. He hasn't exactly pitched a lot. Only 23 innings across 9 starts. So he's still barely pitching. So I don't even think he could factor in his pitching stats as part of his MVP case. He's probably still going to win it. But in the AL, if we are sitting here at 9:46 a.m. on August 18th, which by the way is my mom's birthday. Happy birthday, Mom.
Happy birthday to your mom.
We're sitting here at 9:46 a.m. on August 18th. Cal Raleigh, mark my word, mark the time, mark the date. Cal Raleigh will be the American League Most Valuable Player at the end of the season. And if he is not, one of two things happened. The Mariners missed the playoffs and he had a horrible slump in the month of September. Or the writers were too afraid to vote against Aaron Judge.
Well, when you look at the Yankees and you look at history. I mean, even Vegas, when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys, every year they talk about the Cowboys having this chance and that chance, and they haven't had any chance of going to the Super Bowl in many, 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 many years. But when you talk about the Yankees, you talk about Notre Dame, you talk about the Dallas Cowboys, there's always that betting favorite side of things. If Aaron Judge was on a different team, then you probably wouldn't hear about it right now this season. If Cal Raleigh was a Yankee, then you'd be maybe hearing more about Cal Raleigh. So it is strange.
If Cal Raleigh was a Yankee, the Yankees would also probably have 85 wins at this point.
Well, we shall see what happens. Cal Raleigh should have some flowers. And if he sets the all-time home run record for catchers in the history of Major League Baseball, that's had a few good catchers. The Yankees had that one guy, Yogi, right? So that would be important.
Pretty good.
He was all right. So we definitely will be watching this and seeing what happens. And the Mariners are in better footing than the Yankees are right now in the postseason picture. So if some people look to that and say, okay, well, you got a really good player, but how's your team doing overall? Well, Seattle's doing better than the Yankees, so that's another thing, another feather in the cap of Cal Raleigh, something to pay attention to. Keeping with the Mariners, I got something to say here that is not that news about Cal Raleigh that's all positive. This is different. Seattle Mariners outfielder Victor Robles was ejected from a minor league game during a rehab assignment with AAA Tacoma yesterday, for those of you watching live, Sunday, August 17th, after he was nearly hit by an inside pitch and tossed his bat at the pitcher. Las Vegas starter Joey Estes' first pitch to Robles in the third inning was inside, and Robles whacked at it to avoid getting hit. After taking a few steps behind the plate and dropping his bat, Robles picked up the bat and threw it in Estes' direction and was immediately ejected from the game by plate umpire Joe McCarthy. Robles, who was hit by a pitch 3 times in his previous 4 games in Tacoma, took some steps toward the mound while yelling at the pitcher, but was held back by McCarthy and Las Vegas teammates. After going into the dugout, Robles threw a box of snacks toward the field before heading to the clubhouse. He took to social media later and said this, quote, "Coming off a long rehab and being away from the game for most of the season has been physically and mentally challenging. Adding to that, the recent passing of my mother has been incredibly hard, and I've been doing my best to hold it together. That's not an excuse, but some context. I feel you deserve to understand where I'm coming from." He added, getting hit 5 times in 15 at-bats. For those of you playing the home game, that's a third of the time. Getting hit 5 times in 15 at-bats added to that pressure, and I reacted in a way I'm not proud of. This game means the world to me, and so do the people who play it. I respect every one of you, not just as a player, but as a teammate and competitor. End quote. Robles is rehabbing from a dislocated left shoulder he suffered in April. I'm sad to hear of his mother's passing, and we pray that your mom is safe and sound in heaven, Victor. We pray that she has been reunited with her loved ones that have passed on, that she is in the arms of God, and that you are safe and sound with your loved ones here on earth, and that you're all connected, including you to your mother, even in death, because dying Jesus destroyed our death, and rising he restored our life. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. It is important to have context. In a world that we live in today, where people just want to look at the headline and decide what the story is, decide what someone's motives were, why they did it, he provides some context. Listen, I'm not right for what I did. I do want to make mention to you that not only have I been hit once, but I've been hit 5 times in 15 at-bats. So I've been hit multiple times as I'm going through a rehab here from an injury. So I'm trying to heal from an injury, getting hit on my way trying to make it back to the Seattle Mariners. My mother passes away. So yeah, I'm hurt that she passed away, and I'm sad and frustrated. And I'm sad and frustrated that I keep getting hit. So no, I shouldn't act the way that I acted. I shouldn't throw a bat towards somebody. I shouldn't walk out there and do that. However, I want you to have context to know why I feel the way I feel. I've not been hit once. I've been hit multiple times, and I'm dealing with something. And I want to be the person that shares my story instead of having it shared for me. So I appreciate the fact he came out and said, listen, I can't act like this way even though I'm going through what I'm going through. That takes a big human being. Most people don't apologize. The people that do apologize, how many of them mean it? And the people that apologize, how many of them are saying to you, I'm going through hell right now, but I still want to say I'm sorry. So I shout out Victor Robles for being a big person. I shout out him for sharing his story. And I caution the media, and I caution people that now everybody thinks they're a reporter because we have social media and message boards where people can hide behind whatever they want to hide behind. I caution you to not spread a story and spread a narrative, especially to speak on someone else's behalf or to speak without context. It is important to have context. And Murph, we don't always get this from players and managers when they do get heated. But the fact that he took to his social media and said, number one, I was wrong. And number two, this is what I'm going through. I think that every human being has the right to lead their story. There's no one else that God gave the keys of the car to. There's no one else that God gave the wheel of your vehicle to. So I'm happy that at least Victor Robles got to put his message out there and that I was able to share that today outside of just talking about someone who threw a bat. It's always important to have context. Not that it was right, not that it's okay, but take his mother's passing out of it. Just being a player that was hit 5 times in 15 at-bats, yeah, I'd be thinking at that point that people are just gunning for me, looking to keep me injured. And I'd be really questioning what the heck is going on, especially in a rehab start, of why I keep getting hit.
Oh, for sure. And obviously no one's condoning what happened there, and he's not either. But what's going on, and the fact that he was hit 5 times in 4 games, it's frustrating. And, you know, a lot of people in his shoes would probably crash out too. Maybe not to that extent, but to the point where, you know, you throw the bat at the ground and start yelling at the pitcher or something like that. As far as I've seen in his career, Victor Robles is not exactly a guy that's, you know, gonna jaw at you all that much. He's always seemed like a pretty calm player. But when you get hit 5 times in 4 games and in 15 at bats, something's got to give here. I mean, come on. I don't care who you are. That's going to piss you off. And I don't blame him for being frustrated. Nobody does. What he did obviously was not good and completely inappropriate. And I respect the fact that he owned up to it and was like, yeah, like I screwed up. And like you said, I respect the fact that he kind of gave some context and, and he knows full well that that's not going to justify what he did, but it's going to kind of give people an idea, like what was going through his head. Like sometimes you wonder in certain situations what's going through somebody's head.
Yeah.
He told us what was going through his head, which was, I think, something that will help him. He's probably still going to get some sort of suspension for this, I imagine, whether it comes from minor league baseball or Major League Baseball, whichever the case may be. And he's going to accept it. He's going to own up to it, and it is what it is. There's nothing he can do about it now. It's over.
Right.
But I respect the fact that he came out. He owned it, and he's going to try to move past this. And he's probably a guy that I imagine wouldn't be playing much for the Mariners down the stretch anyway. I imagine he'll probably be a fourth outfielder, or he might even be in AAA full time for a while, or maybe he comes up in September when the rosters expand. But who knows? It's a sad situation, obviously, with the passing of his mother and what he's going through in that area of his life. And then just to, top it all off, constantly getting hit by pitch. And as somebody who's been hit by his fair share of pitches, granted not at 95 miles an hour, but they hurt.
Yeah.
Those sunbucks hurt, man. I imagine at 95 it hurts a lot worse. I mean, I got hit by like 87, and it hit me 3 times in one pitch. It hit my thigh, it hit my knee, and then it hit my foot. Yeah. All in one shot. So that one was pretty painful. And the worst part of that one was it was a freaking scrimmage in college, and our coach told me to get back in the box. I couldn't even go to first base. Well, I think I proceeded to just watch strike 3 on the next pitch. So I was like, yeah, I'm sitting down now. It's like, yeah. I'm not, if I can't go to first base for that, I'm sitting on the bench.
Yeah. I remember in Little League, I got hit by a wild pitch. The guy had hit like 9 of our players. He hit like all but 2 of our players. And the dude was wearing glasses. Apparently the prescription wasn't working. And he somehow threw the ball up into the air. I lost it. And so the pitcher, somehow the ball, because it didn't come at me, it came like behind me. I still to this day don't know how this happened. And he hit me above my kidney. And I remember that I went over and I had like all this ice on my back. And I'll never forget this. My mom came over. My coach comes over to me and he goes, see? He goes, I told you to step up to the plate. He goes, that's what I was talking about. He's like, you got to step up and see what happens when you step up. And I was like, yeah, bro, you get hit by a pitch. Like, you're proud? So I went to the doctor. Doctor told me if it was less than an inch from like where I got hit, if it was less than an inch of difference, I would have been peeing blood. And I was like, cool. I think I'm not about this life. So, I mean, I remember, because, I mean, I always played basketball, and my dad wanted me to play baseball. And so I gave it a shot. And after getting hit by that pitch and having like you said, how your coach telling you, step up, you gotta step up. My coach, he's like, he was proud of me. He wanted to high five me. He's like, that's what happens, Danny, when we step up. And I was like, we get hit above the kidney? Like, dude, and again, like you said, if I can't go to first base on this, what's happening? I looked at this going like, I know it's Little League, but this pitcher has literally like mowed down most of our team. So at what point do we have this person come off of the mound and say, hey, Timmy, maybe you should play a different position. You've legitimately hit everyone and didn't just hit us in all different places. It was like head, shoulders, knees, and toes. The guy was all over the place. If he was playing the game of operation, that thing was going the whole time. So, but yeah, I will never forget that. I'll never forget that moment. But yeah, to To Victor Robles, appreciate and respect the fact that you gave context and that you apologized publicly. Let that show the world that it's okay to apologize, and it's okay to apologize publicly. And also to not do it again. No matter how angry we are, to not go down those roads. Speaking of anger, Murph, I didn't realize this, and I know you're going to react when I say this, but I did not realize how people I know people are mean, and people hiding behind a keyboard, they say whatever they want to say, but there's some mean stuff about the commissioner of Major League Baseball, Rob Manfred. And I'm looking at it here this morning. Now, he did say that he's looking at a geographical realignment of Major League Baseball if the league expands. Before you react, because I know you're going to flip out, I do want to.
No, I saw it. I'm not going to go crazy yet, but continue.
So, Major League Baseball commissioner appeared on ESPN's broadcast last night in the Little League Classic between the Mets and the Mariners and spoke about the potential for expansion. He hinted at the idea of more geographically friendly divisions, but there was one major catch that came with it. Now, he said, quote, "I think if we expand, it provides us with an opportunity to geographically realign. I think we could save a lot of wear and tear on our players in terms of travel. And I think our postseason format would be even more appealing for entities like ESPN because you'd be playing out of the East and out of the West," end quote. So it sounds like he's looking for a model that is more NBA aligned. Major League Baseball hasn't expanded since the Diamondbacks and the Rays entered the league back in 1998. Say word, son! And we also know that, who was it? The Diamondbacks. Fastest team to ever get to and win a World Series. They did it in 4 years against the New York Yankees. And the big unit, my favorite mullet, Randy Johnson, was on the mound with Curt Schilling. And so many wonderful players. Luis Gonzalez, I will never forget. Randy Johnson, I will never forget. And to my entire team, thank you. Because that was the first time in my life that I ever witnessed any of my teams win a title. And that was back in 2001. So,
Must be nice.
We have not seen an expansion since 1998. And so, but the league is reported eyeing expansion once the Athletics and Rays solve their stadium situations. Now, Nashville has been among the cities, Nashville, Tennessee, brought up as a place where there could be expansion. Manfred said, quote, "I think the owners realize there is demand for Major League Baseball in a lot of great cities, and we have an opportunity to do something good around that expansion process," end quote. Manfred has previously stated that he would like to add 2 more teams before he retires as commissioner in 2029. The idea of realignment would mean the end of the American League and the National League, bringing baseball into, like what I said, if they do East and West, you're looking at something that is more aligned with the National Basketball Association, and it would constitute one of the biggest shakeups in baseball as far as what divisions would be. Baseball is America's pastime. Baseball has to do with a lot of fans that love the purity of it. I have a feeling that if there's realignment and we go to different divisions that are more geographically aligned with each other, I am very confident that fans that have been watching for many years are going to lose their poo over this. Murph, your thoughts?
How much time do we have?
Well, my appointment that I had after the show this morning canceled, so I am in a position where I guess we can.
I mean, I don't exactly
have some free reign.
I need
here.
To be.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have as much time to go over as like we normally do this week, but I mean, because I could talk about this forever, but I'll try to keep it. I will try to keep it short and sweet. I will start with this, and I think a lot of baseball fans would agree with me. Rob Manfred has been the worst commissioner in the history of Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
He does not like the game, clearly. And he could say he does all he wants. He doesn't like the game of baseball. The amount of things that he's trying to change, making fundamental changes to baseball as we know it. Mm-hmm. A ghost runner on second base in extra innings. Phantom intentional walks, which that I'm okay with. Pitch clock. Phantom balls and strikes. Robot umpires.
Yeah.
Changes to the postseason format. More teams in the postseason. I can't stand some of these changes.
Yeah.
The ghost runner on second is the worst rule in all of sports. Literally. You get a free runner on second base just because you're in extra innings. You know how exciting 16, 17, 18 inning games are? They're awesome. They are. I remember once when I was a kid, I fell asleep in like the 7th inning of a Mets-Cardinals game. I woke up with the TV still on. They were in the 15th inning. And I got excited and watched the rest of the game at 2 a.m. It was awesome. Yes, I know the pitch clock has helped shorten game times.
Yeah.
But the fact that we're getting games decided by a pitch clock violation or at-bats decided by a pitch clock violation or games decided because there's a ghost runner on second and the home team prevents that ghost runner from scoring.
Yeah.
Now all they got to do is bunt him over to third base and hit a sacrifice fly and the game's over. That's not real baseball. I don't know what that is. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some things that he wants to bring in that would be good for the game. Number one, I said the robot umpire is like a bad thing. I don't necessarily think it would be a bad thing because it's gotten really bad in the last 5 to 10 years.
Yeah. These
umpires think the game's about them. Some of them are brutally bad. Obviously, we all know Joe West and Angel Hernandez, who are now both retired. Thank God, were the worst umpires in baseball. C.B. Buckner's just as bad. He is awful. There are some others that are really bad. Then you had one that was really good, Pat Holberg, that got himself wrapped up in a gambling scandal, and now he's no longer umpiring Major League Baseball. He umpired a perfect game in the World Series. He didn't miss a single call the whole game behind the plate. You know how rare that is? To not miss one call in 200-something pitches, close to 300 pitches most likely during a Major League Baseball game, let alone in the World Series?
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. And obviously he's not in Major League Baseball anymore. Yes, he shouldn't have done what he did, but at the same time. The other thing that needs to happen, and I've kind of put this on the back burner in what I'm going on and saying here, but I'll say it now, is the expansion. Do we need expansion? Yes, absolutely. I completely agree that we want to see, more teams. I think the fans in Montreal would love to see the Montreal Expos come back. Obviously, the Nationals moved to D.C. in 2005, and we've been without a team in Montreal ever since. The Rays and the Athletics, we'll see what happens with their stadiums. We already know the Athletics are going to Vegas, and the Rays they had a new stadium deal. I don't know what happened to it, but obviously with Tropicana Field getting hit by the hurricane, and they're kind of in a more urgent position for a stadium now than ever before.
Yeah,
they may end up having to move. Who knows?
Well, the hope is the people that bought into them are going to keep them down in Florida, but the original stadium deal that we had talked about within the last couple of years, that fell through. Then the hurricane happened, so now the question becomes, where are they going to play and what is the plan for the future? But as of right now, I guess the hope is that they're going to stay in the state of Florida, whereas the Athletics are trying to get to Vegas.
I saw something about a group wanting to move him to Jacksonville, which that would be interesting, but who knows with the new ownership group that's in there. And I really would love to see them spend some money on that team, because the Rays have always been a franchise and an organization that has been known for developing talent and finding guys from anywhere.
Yeah.
But back to the expansion thing, I absolutely think we need to see expansion in Major League Baseball. 32 teams makes all the sense in the world. I don't know why you would do one team and not two. Keep the numbers even, makes sense. So for me, I look at it and I think Montreal makes sense. Portland makes sense. Nashville makes sense. I would have said Vegas, but the A's are already going there. Oakland deserves a team, so maybe we get Oakland a team back. You know, it was not Oakland's fault that the A's were moving. Their owner is a cheap bastard, and you know now wants to move him to the gambling capital of the world. And I guess he wants to take advantage of some of that tax money or something like that he might get for being in Vegas.
Well, the WNBA is there. The Las Vegas Aces have already won a title. You have the Raiders there now. You have the A's that are supposed to be going
won
there.
A Stanley Cup already.
Yeah, you have Vegas Knights, who went to the postseason in their first season in the NHL and almost won it back
Cup
then.
Finals in the first season.
Yeah. And so they almost won a title as an expansion team. And then you have the NBA looking at it. So, I mean, Vegas seems to be the hotbed, but fast-growing cities like Charlotte, North Carolina, and, you know, looking at a Nashville, Tennessee that's been brought up a bunch. It was brought up with the Tampa Bay Rays that if they were to move, would they go to Nashville? And another fast-growing city, but they're already there when it comes to Major League Baseball, is Houston. But you look at some of these cities that could take on having a franchise, having something in Tennessee, having something in the likes of a Charlotte, North Carolina, and North Carolina in the Charlotte area is just hustling and bustling and growing, and their airport is massive now. And I've been going down there for over a decade. So I can tell you that Charlotte has definitely grown in their amount of cars on the road, and just, I mean, they are expanding and expanding and expanding. So there's something to be said about that. And so, I mean, yeah, I would like to see, I'm pro expansion because I love having more opportunities, love seeing new cities get teams, love seeing the name that they choose, love seeing the logo that they choose, and being a part of that history. So I love it for that piece of it. I love it for the opportunity. I love it for cities that may have lost franchises that can get a new franchise, which we have seen happen in the NFL, seen happen in the NBA. You know, Montreal getting a team back would be absolutely amazing. I miss the Expos to this day. So and keep in mind, one of my favorite pitcher of all time, Randy Johnson, was an Expo at one point. So I definitely would like to see Major League Baseball expand. If we see geographical divisions, though, that means the Yankees and the Mets would be in the same division, and that means we would have Subway Series all the time, and it also means that there could be like a heightened murder count between Queens and the Bronx. So, I mean, I asked the fans, and I want you all to vote. You can go on X right now, the former Twitter, @CallDT, that's CALLDT. Make sure to follow us and vote in these polls. If Major League Baseball were to expand, would you be for or against realignment of divisions based on geography? The early voting is 100% against. If Major League Baseball were to expand and with that change divisions to be more geographically focused, would you want to see a division with the New York Yankees and New York Mets together? That early voting says no. I would not like to see that. No one has voted yes, and we just put those polls up on our X @CallDT, that's CALLDT. So Murph, I mean, I guess my biggest question for you, and I want you to ponder it during this fast break inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, how fast can an imaginary runner run?
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the Whole Frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315 432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McNerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, what is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Bryan and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Bryan and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Bryan's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Life gets busy, and sometimes that means us running around. So Canine Camp Dog Daycare offers you an opportunity to give your dog a place to stay while you take care of what you need to throughout the day. Canine Camp Dog Daycare is located on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, New York. You can see it from the highway, and it's just off of Erie Boulevard across from BJ's Wholesale Club. Call 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110 to schedule an appointment to bring your dog in and tour the facility. Appointments are Monday through Thursday after 6:30, where you and your dog can see everything that Canine Camp Dog Daycare has to offer, including a self-serve dog wash and a retail store filled with all of your dog's wants and needs, including food, treats, harnesses, leashes, and more, making Canine Camp Dog Daycare your one-stop shop for your furry loving friend. Right, Lily?
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, and I want to send some love to Chick-fil-A DeWitt, the newest Chick-fil-A here in Central New York, on the corner of Bridge and Erie. So you may know it as Chick-fil-A DeWitt, and you may also know it as Chick-fil-A Bridge and Erie. It is the same place. It is a massive brick building, the biggest Chick-fil-A you have probably ever seen. And I don't know what it is about Central New York, but they like building big Chick-fil-A's here with massive parking lots, which I definitely thank Chick-fil-A for, because down south, they got some tiny parking lots for some of them, and some of them are on like cliffs and whatnot. So, I love going to Chick-fil-A, but I love having the parking, love having the big old drive-thrus, and having plenty of space for the volume. I want to thank everybody that has been packing the parking lot at Chick-fil-A DeWitt. Thanks for going over and seeing owner-operator Megan Sorber and her team, and for celebrating Chick-fil-A in DeWitt. Go and see them today. And just know this, that there are students there that go to school at the colleges and universities surrounding Chick-fil-A DeWitt. So they're going to school in our community, and then they're working in our community. And guess what? Megan Sorber, the owner-operator, that's how she got started at Chick-fil-A. A student who was learning and growing at Chick-fil-A while being in school. And now she's teaching current students to do the same thing. Balance working at a wonderful place with going to school in the local community. So shout out to Megan Sorber, and truly showing you a story that comes full circle. God bless to Chick-fil-A and what they're doing in DeWitt, and we appreciate you heading over there. With that being said, we are here, DT and Murphy, on Wake Up Call inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. And of course, speaking on a bunch of different things. Murph, have you come up with a top speed for a Phantom runner yet?
I have not, because the thing that was on my mind during the break was actually more so about the realignment with Major League Baseball, simply because the division that they saw as like the best recommendation for the Northeast was Mets, Yankees, Red Sox, Phillies.
Yep.
Do you know how toxic that division would be? If the NFC East in the NFL is not already toxic,
yeah,
this would be worse.
Yeah.
Each of these two teams, well, I still think the Mets' biggest rival is the Braves, but each of these two teams' biggest rival is in their own division. Granted, Red Sox, Phillies don't really have anything against each other, but Mets, Yankees, Mets, Phillies, Yankees, Red Sox.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how toxic that would get?
Well,
with how Eagles fans are,
yeah,
Cowboys fans are,
but that's probably
Giants
the model.
Fans are.
That's not. I'm sure that's the model, though.
I would hate that,
because if you look at the model, you're looking at Washington D.C. So if you look at the NFC East in football, you got Washington D.C., you have Philadelphia, right, and then you have the New York area. So outside of Boston, which would be the Patriots in the NFL, you're looking at that division that you're mentioning with the Yankees and the Mets and the Phillies and the Nationals and the Red Sox, that would essentially look just like the NFC East. But some of these divisions are not going to necessarily change too much, but I think it's going to be confusing with the Cubs and the Reds because they both have a giant C, and the Twins sometimes have the TC.
Well, they're already in the same division.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, if you have the Cubs C, the Reds C, and then you have the Twins TC, because the Twins TC kind of looks like the Reds C, so it's a lot of strangeness. And I am saying Reds C, but it sounds like the Red C. Shout out to God and thank you for parting it. But the White Sox and the Cubs would be in the same division. The Yankees and the Mets would be in the same division. So they wouldn't even, it's not even like, they're not even in the same league. They're not on the same side right now. They would not only be on the same side, they would be within the same home. The Blue Jays would have to play with the Tigers. That would be interesting. They'd still have the Orioles, but they would have the Pirates. Then the Rays and the Marlins would be together. That would be interesting. Rangers and Astros, that doesn't change too much.
Yeah.
But the Rays being with the Marlins, that could be interesting, especially depending on where the Rays are. But you know what my excitement is? The Diamondbacks get to stay with the Rockies. So there's but there is something to that. And then whatever the A's end up being, we would have the A's, we would have the Angels A, then we would have the Mariners, and we would have the Dodgers all together. But yeah, I mean, listen, if they do it more geographically, then it could make more sense for travel and have geographic rivalries. And I understand the importance of geography, but with some of these, when we talk about the Padres, Diamondbacks, Rockies, Royals, Cardinals, if that was a division, that's the most outstretched one outside of having a Texas, Atlanta, Florida one, and then the Northeast one that we're talking about, and then having kind of a Midwest, Northeast corridor one that includes Toronto, and then if maybe you put Montreal back in there, then Toronto and Montreal would be in the same. And then, you know, some of these divisions, I'm like, oh, okay, like, that makes sense. But again, it's taking away the history of baseball. It's taking away the rivalries within divisions, and it would mix things up so much that it would really distort reality. And like you said, I mean, if the Yankees and the Mets, people love the Subway Series. If the Yankees and the Mets are playing each other, and let's say there's going to be more of that going on, and it's going to be more intense, and then the Yankees and the Mets are fighting for divisions, I'm telling you folks, I go down to New York City every year. I'm concerned for the health of people in the 5 boroughs if the Yankees and Mets are fighting for a divisional pennant. That makes me concerned.
It's bad enough that you got the Devils, Rangers, and Islanders all in the same division, and the Nets and the Knicks in the same division. Those teams' fan bases don't like hate each other the way the Mets and Yankee fans do.
Yeah.
If you put those two teams in the same division, think about putting the White Sox and the Cubs in the same division, which is something that would happen. Think about putting, well, maybe not to the same extent, but think about putting the Dodgers and the Angels in the same division. Same city. Fan bases don't particularly like each other. Cubs, White Sox fans hate each other. Mets, Yankees fans hate each other. First of all, we have had the American League and the National League for 125 years. The very first World Series in 1903 was between the American League and the National League. That's the way it was. If you eliminate the American League and the National League, it would be a massive fundamental change to the way baseball is played for a long time. You can't undo that.
Yeah.
I totally agree that if you expand to 32, we probably need a 4th division in each league. We probably need to go north, south, east, west in each league.
Yeah.
And that would make sense. You know, if you do that and you go 4 teams in each league, you know, if you go National League East, you're probably looking maybe you take. Ooh, I don't even know. Yeah, Mets, Phillies, Nationals, Braves, Marlins. I mean, maybe you take Mets, Phillies, Nationals, and Pirates. Maybe. Then you go National League North. Maybe you go Cubs, Reds. Ooh. Cubs, Reds. Maybe if you have a Nashville team, you go Nashville. I don't know. Cubs, Reds. God, that would be a strange one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hang on. Let me pull up the divisions right now just to kind of see an idea of what would make sense. Maybe do all right, Cubs, Reds, Brewers, Cardinals, because then you'd have the Pirates going with the Mets, or going in the NL East. Maybe then you go for the South. You go Atlanta, Miami, Atlanta, Miami. Ooh. That wouldn't make sense. I genuinely don't know.
Yeah. Well, and that.
Because now you're basically like, well, where do Atlanta and Miami go?
Right.
Because basically the only teams that are left are the West.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is if
maybe you put them with, I don't know.
If you do this thing based on geography,
that's where your Nashville team could go. Yeah. That's where your Nashville team could go. Or maybe north you put it in. Let's just say that the northern team is the Expos, and you put them in the American League. You leave that the way it is. You put your Nashville team in with the South, so the Braves, Marlins, Nashville, and then maybe you put in, or maybe you put them maybe put the Expos in the National League, and then move an NL team to the AL. I mean, maybe you move maybe remove the Rockies to the American League or something like that, or something along those lines to make it work. But that's how you can do it a little more geographically without changing National League, American League, because that would be such a fundamental change that you're going to have American League and National League teams currently playing in the same division with each other. That this has never happened before. It's completely unprecedented.
Yeah,
they would never play in the playoffs until now. I am so against that it's absurd. You can easily do somewhat geographical divisions without getting rid of the American League and National League. Do it like the way the NFL does it. I mean, hell, the Dallas Cowboys are in the NFC East. Dallas
You know who used
Cowboys.
to be there? The Arizona Cardinals.
Well, when they were the St. Louis Cardinals.
No, Arizona Cardinals used to be in the NFC East.
Seriously?
Yeah. Yeah, Murph.
Well, I mean, I guess you could say that with college football, with the changing of conferences there, you got Texas and Oklahoma going to the Southeastern Conference, and the Big Ten, which has historically been a Northeast conference, getting USC, UCLA from California. Who knows? But the travel is not, these guys aren't affected by the travel. I know. I mean, yes, it is a lot of travel.
It depends on how long you do it.
West Coast. You plan the cross-country trips. You plan the cross-country trip accordingly. You have an off day before and after. You don't have to worry about taking a 6.5 hour flight without an off day. You have a day to reacclimate and adjust. It's always worked that way. It's going to continue to always work that way. So, for me, that's the one thing that I am afraid of with this commissioner. And this commissioner has literally been the worst thing for baseball. If Bud Selig was still the commissioner, granted, we might still have steroids rampant in Major League Baseball, but if Bud Selig was still the commissioner, yes, we'd have expansion, but we would not be having these talks like what this moron is trying to do. 90%, well, no. 90% of like the people that I personally know that are baseball fans can't stand this guy. So it's, I mean, when he retires in 2029, I don't know if that's actually going to happen or not, but if he does, thank God, because we need a new guy in there. Oh God. Give me expansion, but figure out how to keep the American League the National League. I will not stand for Mets, Yankees, Phillies, Red Sox in the same division. It can't happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I'm looking at this right now, I'm actually trying to break it down. If we were to add one team to each side, so you go from 30 Major League Baseball franchises to 32. Right now you have 5, 5, and 5. You have 3 divisions of 5 in the American League, 3 divisions of 5 in the National League. So if you add 1 to each side, that gives you 16. 16 divides by 4 divisions equally to 4. So you can have Toronto, Boston, Baltimore, and the Yankees stay together. That makes sense geographically. Detroit, Cleveland, Minnesota, Chicago White Sox stay together. That makes sense geographically. Then you would have Seattle, the A's, and the Angels stay together. That would make sense geographically. And then, okay, so then this is...
Well, if you go Portland, that finishes that off.
Yeah. So this is what I would do, yeah. So I would go, so I would say, I'll take...
It all comes down to where the teams are.
Yeah, Seattle...
Like where the new expansion teams are located.
Seattle, LA, and let's call the A's Vegas for now, if that ends up happening. So I'll put that there. And then the other division, the 4th division, I would move Texas out of the West. I'd put Texas, Houston, Tampa, Kansas City. So I'd move the Royals down to this other one. And then that means that I would have one open thing for Seattle, the A's, and the Angels. So if they do a West Coast team, then I would move them into that division. So that actually works out perfectly with a move of Tampa and Kansas City to be with Houston and Texas, and then those divisions all work out. So then the expansion team would go to the West Coast. Then in the National League, I want to do the same thing here. So I'm going to keep Philly. I'm going to keep the Mets. How am I going to do this? All right, so then I'm going to do that together, and then I'm going to keep Milwaukee, Chicago together. I'm going to keep Cincinnati with them. And I'm going to move Pittsburgh up to Philly and New York. So I'm going to move them out of the Central, put them in the East for those of you that are playing the home game here. Then I'll have the LA Dodgers. I'll have San Diego together. I'll have San Francisco together. I'll have Arizona stay in that division, which means I have to move Colorado. So I'll move Colorado down here. And then...
That's probably the team you put in the North.
No, because if I can put Colorado with Atlanta and Miami. So I put Colorado with Atlanta.
That doesn't make sense though.
It's Midwest. Why would I want to move them up to the North?
It wouldn't be Midwest. It'd be South. Because you got Atlanta, Miami. If you have a Nashville team, you go Nashville.
Right, and Colorado would make more sense to put Denver over there than it would for me to bring that area up to the North. So if I have...
No, because you could put... Hold on. Mets, Phillies, Nationals, Pirates, if you do that. That's East. That makes sense. Cubs...
Yeah, this one's done. This one's done.
Cubs, Brewers, Reds, Rockies would make sense in the North.
Oh, I know.
You could put the Cardinals with the... I would put the Cardinals with Miami and Atlanta.
Well, think about it this way: if I take Colorado and I take St. Louis, Missouri, I take Atlanta and I take Miami. If I put all of them together, that's done. Then I take LA, San Diego, San Francisco, Arizona. I keep them together. That's done. So that just takes Colorado out of the division of the NL West. Then I have Washington, D.C., Pitt, Philly, New York Mets. That's done, which means that I would now have Chicago, Cincinnati, Milwaukee. So if I was to bring in a Montreal, I'm putting Canada in the Midwest. I'm okay with that.
I mean, I guess
I'm more okay with
I guess you
putting
could say that makes
Montreal in the
sense.
Midwest than I am putting Montreal with Atlanta.
Well, I wouldn't put Montreal with Atlanta. I'd put Montreal there. I mean, if you go, let's see, Atlanta,
or I could put Montreal
Atlanta,
with the New
Miami,
York
St.
teams,
Louis.
and then I move Washington to a different one.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that too. Because if you do like Atlanta, Miami, St. Louis, and Washington, then you put Mets, Phillies, Pirates, and Expos together. That makes sense. That could definitely make sense.
Yeah. So, I mean, there is a sensible way to add 2 teams to Major League Baseball, keep divisions
Well, that's if they are put in
the American and
if they
National
are
League,
put in.
and they do it
That's if they're put in Portland and Montreal.
right.
That's a big if.
But if we're doing this, well, I mean, and it's still, I mean, we can.
I mean,
move things
obviously,
around
if you
1
go
and 2.
Nashville, you can kind of change it up a little bit.
Well, if you go
If you go Nashville, then you can kind of put Nashville with the northern teams. You keep the 2 Texas teams and 2 Florida teams together. Or actually, no, because the Rays are American League. No, you'd put Nashville probably with the
South.
with the Rays, Astros, and Rangers. That's how I would do that.
So
New Orleans is another option that they could put a team.
Yeah. But I mean,
like we said, Charlotte.
When you look at this, if they were to add 1 more, which would bring 30 to 32 Major League Baseball franchises, there is a way to keep the history and the fiber of Major League Baseball in the American League and in the National League, have 4 divisions instead of 3, and then have equal 4, 4, 4, and 4 in each division. And as we broke it down here today, in the American League, everything would make sense if there be a West Coast team or a team by the West Coast. Then you can lock that in to Seattle, the A's, and the Angels, which would be needing 1 more. And in the National League, if you were to have another Canadian team like Montreal, you can fit them in there. But if you were to take a Nashville, then that would fit with Atlanta, Miami, St. Louis. If you were to take a Charlotte
would too.
Then, Charlotte, depending on where they go, let's say if Charlotte went to the American League, for argument's sake, then if you put Charlotte in the American League, you can either put that in the Tampa division, or you can put that in the North division. Well, you probably wouldn't put it in the North division because that makes too much sense already.
So, Tampa division, yeah.
So you would put it in the Tampa division, which means that you would have to rotate somebody out of that to be playing up against the West Coast teams, which may make things a little bit interesting. So I think whenever they're looking at this expansion and they're looking at the potential cities, if we were to take this on and add 1 on each side, it would make more sense to, if you're going to geographically align divisions, to keep the American League teams, keep the National League teams, the National League teams. There is a way to geographically do this without erasing the American and National League, is what we're trying to say.
Sure. I mean, and then the other idea, too, is to just make 1 division with 6 teams. I mean, we had that before with the National League Central up until about 2015 when the Houston Astros moved to the American League, and we evened it out. So you could, in theory, just put the Montreal Expos in the National League East and put the Portland whatevers in the National League or in the American League West. Like, you could very easily just do that if you so choose. I mean, we'll see what happens with it.
Yeah.
The 4-4-4-4 model makes more sense. But at the same time, you could just put a 6th team in those divisions because it would not be unprecedented. It's happened before. We played with 6 teams in the NL Central and 4 teams in the AL West for a long time.
Right.
So it could easily happen.
But we saw the Astros make that jump from one league to the other, and then finally equaling things out so you don't have a 6-team division and a 4-team division.
Correct. And like I said, like that's an idea, because in this way you can leave the divisions alone and just add the Expos to the East and add the Portland team to the West, or add the Nashville team to the American League East and add a Charlotte team to the National League East, or something along those lines. But there's definitely a way to do it. Obviously, we just went through it. We just need to make sure that we're not doing the whole, Eastern Conference and Western Conference.
Yeah.
That's just not okay. It's just not.
Well, it would do a lot to. I don't think people want to see both Chicago's and both New York's in the same division. I think there's a way of some people being a fan of both, because
use the NFL
one's
as a
on
model.
one side, one's on the other side, so I can cheer them on. Yeah, I mean the Chargers are on one side, and we have the Chargers in the AFC. We have the Rams in the NFC. When you're talking about LA, when you're talking about New York, you have the Giants in the NFC. You have the Jets in the AFC. So you put them on opposite sides where you can essentially take the same fan base geographically, and they can support both because they're typically not seeing each other, or they're seeing each other in preseason.
And they're not rivals.
In the case of the Giants and the Jets. And so there's something to be said about that. And, something to be said about the model of, you're a Met fan, you may hate the Yankees. You're a Yankee fan, you may hate the Mets. But when they're on the other side and you only see them outside of your league and you play them for a few games each year and then you don't see them unless you make it to the World Series, there's something to that. Does it take some of the luster away if it's no longer a World Series matchup that could happen once every however many years, but it's, now we're fighting in division, and you're seeing this all the time, and maybe the Yankees and Mets are playing in the postseason every year if you were to geographically change this, and maybe they're going to be lined up with each other every year. Every 3 years you're seeing Yankees and Mets. Does that take something away? Does a White Sox fan cheer on the Cubs when, the White Sox are, not playing that day, or they're out of the playoffs? And so you look to the Cubs and say, hey, Chicago, I'm going to show my love and support. But I mean, ultimately, if you put these teams within the same, we've shown you, and I'm actually going to put this up and break it all down even more so, but there is a way to do these divisions where pretty much all of it's going to make sense. And if they lock in teams from a couple areas, it would make perfect sense. If a West Coast team comes in, if a Northeast team comes in, there's an easy way to align them. Or if a Charlotte comes in, Charlotte can arguably go to two different divisions because they're right in the center of things by the Mason-Dixon line. And when we start talking about, teams that are within Tennessee or Kentucky or North Carolina or South Carolina or something like that, you're speaking of a region that can either go north, go Midwest, go south. So that gives you some variance in how you're going to put it together. But there is a way to do this, and it will keep most of the teams that we know divisionally together. And so, if you have Toronto, Baltimore, Boston, the Yankees, and you lose Tampa to a Southern division, I think people could stomach that more than completely blowing the thing up and saying the Yankees are going to be with the Mets and the Nationals are now going to be in this thing. And then you got to say goodbye to either Baltimore or Boston and figure that thing out. So I will be breaking it down further. I do think it's a good conversation. And
I'd love to hear Papa Joe's thoughts on that.
Yeah, we'll talk about it this week for sure. But, I mean, the cities that I have written down here, Montreal, Charlotte, Nashville, Portland, potentially a New Orleans, these are all potential homes for a team to find its place. So, Murph, I do want to switch to football before we jump into the world of sports cards. Bills Sean McDermott, blowout loss in the preseason. Let's discuss. Buffalo Bills lost to the Chicago Bears, and Sean McDermott, the head coach of the Buffalo Bills, said, quote, certainly not up to our standards, end quote. Now, he said he was, quote unquote, concerned by his team's overall performance in the second preseason game. The Bills, who almost exclusively played their backups against Caleb Williams and the Bears starters, were outgained 528 yards to 180 in a loss 38-0. McDermott said, quote, certainly not up to our standard, what we expect. Got a lot of work to do, that's very clear. Doesn't matter who's out there, ones, twos, threes, fours, whoever it is, we expect them to perform, and we expect our level of performance to be much better than that, end quote. Safety Cole Bishop, wide receiver Josh Palmer were the two projected Bills starters that did see some playing time after both missed time during camp with injuries. Bishop played 11 snaps against the Bears' first-team offense. Palmer played 8 snaps against the first team of the Chicago Bears. McDermott didn't mention any specific players and acknowledged that Josh Allen and most of the team's starters rested because the Bills want to prioritize keeping them healthy, adding he felt they were moving in the right direction with the first unit during coming off of last week's joint practices with the Bears. But McDermott also emphasized he wanted to see more from Buffalo's second stringers, especially the defense, which struggled against Williams and Chicago's first string offense. So, Murph, your thoughts on this? Is it something that you get concerned about when the majority of your starters aren't playing in the game? Do you say, hey, it's not our starters? So in one way, do you say we didn't lose 38-0 and get outgained by almost 400 yards offensively against our opponent with starter versus starter? So do you look at this and say, okay, not a fair fight? Or do you look at it from the other perspective and say, there is such a massive ocean between our first string and our second string that we need to get it together. We might have to look to free agency and make some moves here.
It's a preseason game. Don't read too much into it. That's kind of my thoughts on the matter. I mean, you're not playing your starters. It's a preseason game. Nobody cares about winning a preseason game. It means nothing for your record. All your starters are sitting out because you want to make sure they stay healthy. So what's the difference what the outcome of the game is? I mean, the Jets have gone like 3-0 in the postseason multiple times in the last decade. When's the last time they made the playoffs, folks?
Yeah.
2010.
Yeah.
Seriously. It doesn't matter. It's the preseason. When the Bills are 5-0 in week 5 because Josh Allen's playing amazing and this whole team is clicking on all cylinders, are you going to remember when they got shut out 38-0 in the preseason against the Bears, who will probably be 2-3 in week 5? Probably not. Because it doesn't matter. It is a preseason game. If it was your starters who played really poorly and, you know, like Josh Allen plays 3 series, he gets picked off twice, gets sacked a couple of times, like, all right, and then let's say, all right, I'm a little concerned about that. And realistically, I could say that about the Jets. I mean, they didn't look good against the Giants.
Yeah.
Their defense got burned on a long touchdown by Russell Wilson. Justin Fields didn't look good. Breece Hall didn't look good. These are your starters. I'm more concerned about that because it's your starters. The backups are not supposed to be good. That's why they're backups. It's a preseason game, folks. Take a chill pill. The Bills will be fine, and the Bears will suck like they always do.
I figured Murph would take it's the preseason, who cares, and that's exactly what he took. I say, from Sean McDermott's point of view, maybe he is looking and saying, hey, yeah, it's preseason, but our second stringer shouldn't have this much drop. Shouldn't have this much drop off.
Yeah, that's the exact reason why he said it like that.
You know,
like you can't tell the media like, oh, it doesn't matter. It's a preseason game. Like he answered the questions the way you're supposed to answer the questions.
But he could, as a coach, also.
Obviously, you're going to be.
He could be looking at it as a coach and saying to himself, if any of my starters get injured at certain positions, I might be in trouble. So this might be to light a fire on his second, third, and fourth string players, because as we know, there are certain teams where their fourth best quarterback could be better than half the league. You know, we talk about the college world of Nick Saban's Alabama, that their fifth string player could start pretty much anywhere in the country. So you want to make sure that you don't have a discrepancy of such a drop-off when injuries do happen in the sport of football, unfortunately, and God willing they won't. But if and when they do, that you're prepared. Speaking of being prepared, the Jacksonville Jaguars did something interesting. Jacksonville played New Orleans yesterday. Then they took one of New Orleans' players. The Jaguars acquired veteran defensive tackle Kalen Saunders from the Saints, trading away former third-round pick out of Kentucky and former starting center Luke Fortner. The interior of the defensive line being a potential issue for the defensive line in general being an issue for the Jaguars, who got rid of Calais Campbell years ago, and I'm still think that was a terrible decision. Eric Armstead, who came in last year from San Francisco, we look at what's going on here, and so we could see his move back inside, and then Mason Smith from LSU, seeing how he comes along. But Armstead's been dealing with a back injury and has yet to practice. Smith suffered a lower body injury during pre-camp conditioning. So bringing in somebody like Kalen Saunders can help this Jaguars defensive line. Vet D-tackle Devon Hamilton has not been the same player he was in 2022 after suffering a back infection in the 2023 preseason, which caused him to miss 9 games from what I'm looking at right here. Now, Saunders enters his 7th year in the NFL. Spent the past 2 years with the Saints after 4 seasons with the Chiefs, who drafted him in the 3rd round in 2019. Saunders, who has 6.5 sacks and 181 tackles in his career, won 2 Super Bowls with the Kansas City Chiefs. 6'3", 324 pounds. Also had a 37-yard interception return against the Chiefs last season after he grabbed a deflected pass in the end zone. So, Saunders started for the Saints in the preseason game against the Jaguars yesterday and played in the 17-17 tie game, while Saints defensive tackle Nathan Shepard did not see action. Now, Fortner, going back to him, he was the Jaguars' 3rd-round pick, like I said, back in 2022, played every single snap as a rookie. He also started every single game in 2023. But after that, the team replaced him in 2024 with free agent signee Mitch Morse from the Buffalo Bills. And then with Morris retiring in March, the Jaguars signed Robert Hainsey less than a week later to be the starter. The Jaguars also selected center Jonah Monheim in the 7th round of this year's draft, and he's been working there. So it looked like they were moving on from Luke Fortner. So instead of keeping a center on who's had experience, because why would the Jaguars keep guys on who have stayed healthy and have good experience? They typically hate doing that, and so they've decided to go after a defensive lineman. Now listen, the defensive line has struggled very much so, and the Jaguars are not stopping many. But to get rid of someone who has been a starting center who you trusted pretty much right after you brought him in the door, I'm a little concerned with Tyler Shatley, who's played guard and center for them, not there. Luke Fortner, who's played center for them, not there. And the fact that they go and get veteran guys and put them on the line that don't always stay healthy. But Luke Fortner, he's a young guy, only a few seasons in, and he's given them a lot. So, do I like the move? Time will tell. I'm happy they brought in somebody to help them on the D-line. What I'm not happy is it was at the expense of losing your former starting center. To go to the Philadelphia Eagles, they have decided to bring in a guy from the Texans who Murph and I might have to dig through our cards, because I know I got some rookies of this guy, and see if we can have a career out of it and sell the cards that we have of John Mechie III. He has left the Texans for the Eagles. Houston, Texas, trading the wide receiver to the Eagles, and the Texans received tight end Harrison Bryant and a 5th-round draft pick in exchange for John Mechie and a 6th-round pick. So John Mechie now has the time to really show what he can be. He never caught on as a rookie and has never caught on in Houston as one of their main receivers.
Well, I mean, he did get diagnosed with cancer.
Right.
So I'll give the guy a pass.
I'm saying when he's on the field, he has never been the difference. So he leaves Houston for a new chapter. Beating cancer is an incredible thing. And James Conner going through his story as well. I'm just happy to see John Mechie on the field. John Mechie's one of those guys that I want to see succeed. Not because he fought through cancer, but because I want to see everybody succeed. I want to see everybody have an opportunity to go out there and chase their dreams. And Mechie was a guy that I'm like, okay, let's see what he's got. And then time went by in his young career in the NFL, and we haven't seen him really be the guy. So maybe in Philadelphia he can find his place. It comes after the Texans lost.
Especially with all his former Alabama teammates in that locker room.
Right.
That entire wide receiver room is Alabama, basically.
Yeah. Which is awesome.
Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, and now John Mechie III.
Right. So
all of them are former Crimson Tide.
That's how Philadelphia wants to win their championships, by rolling that tide. Brevin Jordan was
Alabama offense, Georgia
right.
defense.
There you go. They're smart. So the Texans lost tight end Brevin Jordan for a season-ending knee injury, and God bless to Brevin. We hope you get well and heal up quick and stay healed. Now, the Texans had only 2 tight ends they trusted in Dalton Schultz in 2024, fourth-round pick Cade Stover, who I still have his, 2 out of 5 in the world. Houston Texan, almost the entire full Texan face patch and signed, and it's a rookie card. So he is still on the team. Mechie enters his 4th NFL season. He has 40 receptions, 412 yards, and a touchdown in 29 games, and missed the entire rookie season while getting treatment for leukemia after the Texans selected him in the 2nd round of the 2022 draft. He led Texans receivers this preseason with 53 receiving yards on 6 catches in 2 games. However, he was at best the 5th wide receiver on Houston's depth chart, which has Nico Collins, now has Christian Kirk. Thanks, Jacksonville, for another horrible decision. And they have Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel, who come in as rookies. Mechie also provided little special teams, while wideout Braxton Berrios from Miami Hurricanes is a kick return specialist. So now Mechie will have the opportunity, like Murph said, to join A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, as well as Jahan Dotson and Johnny Wilson. Smith and Mechie were teammates at Alabama and were members of the 2020 National Championship winning team. The Eagles wanted to make their wide receiver room even stronger, and Mechie provides them an opportunity to hopefully add some depth here. So we shall see what happens here. But yeah, Philadelphia, understanding that if you get Alabama players who have won national titles in the SEC, coming out of the SEC, and Georgia players who have won national titles coming out of the SEC, that maybe, just maybe, you'll be in good footing for a long time, because there's a bunch of Georgia guys on that defense, and now, of course,
it's the Georgia defense
Tide.
And the Alabama offense. That's what it is.
It's
all
great.
they need on defense is
Smart.
to trade Saquon for Derrick Henry, and that team is complete.
Yeah. Well,
although that would be the stupidest trade in the history of the NFL.
There would be rioting if that trade were to happen.
Yes,
so let's not do that, folks.
They do have some Penn State sprinkled in there with Saquon and Jahan Dotson.
That's true. So I do want to, and Jahan, I actually had him. It's funny. I predicted that he would go to Philadelphia at the exact pick that he went. Washington traded up, took the pick from Philadelphia, drafted Jahan at the exact position that he would be, that I had him predicted to be drafted, and I had him being drafted to Philadelphia, who originally had the pick. So he gets drafted right where I had him being drafted. Washington trades for the pick, and then eventually he ends up in Philadelphia. So he ended up where I thought he would be at the pick that I had him at, which I think is funny with the Jahan.
Just in an unconventional way.
Yeah, unconventionally, but still, thank you, Jahan, and Philly, and Washington, for getting that prediction right for me. Now, Ashton Jeanty, let's take a look at him right now. Speaking of running backs, we just mentioned Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley. This man is a force to be reckoned with, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen here. 5'8", same height as me, 208 pounds. That's more than me. So he is
by just a little bit.
He's got about 60 pounds on me, but we are the same height. Now, Gentry let's say 40 pounds on me, because I'm 168 right now, 167. So yeah, he's got 40 pounds on me. Now, Gentry pushed Lenore down with his left hand, reached the 49ers 25-yard line before eventually being tackled by safety Brown on a 13-yard carry with 2:10 to go in the first quarter. This is on Saturday. Now, Raiders quarterback Geno Smith, let me repeat, Raiders quarterback Geno Smith, the Geno that was at West Virginia when Syracuse beat them in the snow in the, at then time, New Era Pinstripe Bowl, now the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl. That Geno Smith that came into the NFL and played for the Jets, that Geno Smith that I was at Jets camp when he was there, who then went to Seattle, resurrected his career after bouncing around, and now finds himself with the Raiders. He said about Genty, quote, he's running through people and he's not shying away from contact. He's going to be a special player, end quote. Genty has long to have his, quote, I'm here moment. And so taking a look at what Genty did, he had 7 carries for 33 yards. 13-yard run was part of an 8-play, 41-yard scoring drive that ended with his powering into the end zone from the 1-yard line to give Vegas a 10-3 lead at the time. Genty said, quote, I've arrived, and it's time to keep going and make plays for this team. End quote. We know that this man has done a lot of things, and now that Pete Carroll is the head coach of this Raiders team and going and getting Geno Smith, who he had with Seattle, he says, quote, Genty looked tough as hell, end quote. For those of you that don't know, when Ashton Genty, and I'm going to read something off to you right now, and I want to caution you that this is not a career statistic. This is a season statistic. 1 year, not 4, 1. Last year, this man ran at Boise State for the Broncos 374 times for 2,601 yards, 29 touchdowns rushing, averaging 7 yards per carry. His total yardage last season, 2,739 yards. In 3 seasons at Boise State, he ran for 5,630, or he had yards from scrimmage, 5,631 total yards. His rushing yards, 4,769 in 3 seasons. His first season, 821 on 156 attempts, 5.3 yards a carry. His second, and that was in 14 games. His second season in 12 games, 1,347 yards on 220 carries, 6.1 yards a carry. And last season, 2,601 on 374 carries, 7 yards per carry. Some people do not have 29 touchdowns in their career. Some people do not amount over 2,000 yards over 4 seasons. A lot don't, actually. And there are players that have never gotten almost 400 carries in the history of them playing football. This man did so many things in one season that some people do not do in a career. And now he is a Raider. So let's see what he does as he steps forward, Murph. Is the NFL ready for Ashton Genty?
I'd say yes. He hasn't exactly impressed me in the NFL so far in 2 preseason games.
Well, coming from your words, it's the preseason. So
again, yeah. But you asked the question, is the NFL ready for him? But based on what he's done in the preseason, the answer is yes. They are ready for him. Because he hasn't looked good in the preseason so far. He had a touchdown last night, which got his first one. We'll see him get his first one once they get to into the regular season. But if you're an Ashton Genty fantasy owner, I'm a little concerned right now. Because you're seeing him play against starters. That's why I said that the Bills was not a big deal, because it's the preseason and you didn't play your starters at all. The Raiders played their starters. The 49ers played their starters. He did not look good against the 49ers starters. Granted, 49ers, very good defense. But I'm a little concerned if I was an Ashton. I would definitely be concerned if I was a fantasy owner of Ashton Genty. We'll see what happens. I hope he proved me wrong, because I think he's a great player.
yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, he's not going to get the same type of workload he did at Boise State. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it's going to be more of a running offense. Obviously, Geno Smith is mobile, so we'll see what happens with the Raiders there. But I'm interested to see how he does. But to answer the question, I think they are ready for him, because it has not been all that great so far.
All right. Well, I do want to hit this really quick, and we got just a couple minutes to hit it, but I want to let people know. Now, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, both drafted by the Browns in 2025, and are both fighting for the starting job in Cleveland with Joe Flacco, the longtime vet, and Kenny Pickett, who was drafted just a few years ago. Dylan Gabriel had made a comment on Saturday, and he wanted to clarify this comment. He was asked during the CBS broadcast about tuning out the noise surrounding the Browns quarterback competition. He said, quote, "Yeah, it's just part of it. You know, there's entertainers and there's competitors, and I totally understand that, but my job is to compete, and that's what I'm focused on doing." End quote. His entertainers comment was taken by some to be reference to Shedeur Sanders, who was selected 2 rounds after Gabriel, but has obviously been talked about more because people can't let go of narratives, in my opinion. So after the game, we look at Gabriel completed 13 of 18, 143 yards, 2 turnovers in the game. He wanted to clarify. He said, quote, "Yeah, first off, I'm all about our team and each other. I would never make that comment about Sanders, and I've said it before. That's why it's interesting. But for me, I've explained it. Entertainers, are you all competitor? Entertainers, are you all competitor? That's what I am, and all my teammates, and we both have jobs to do. So that's it." End quote. So it sounds like he was talking about entertainers as the media, not as Shedeur. But of course, people want to make something out of nothing, because what would some people in the media do if they didn't have clickbait? They would have to write real stories. Poor them. So we'll see what happens here as we step forward. But clarity, once again, Dylan Gabriel stating, hey, I've made this comment before. I'm not talking about my teammate. I'm talking about the world we live in. Still waiting to see who the quarterback's going to be. And we'll find out soon enough. Murphalation Station for the Nation, and I will be back to talk about sports cards. We appreciate you being here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets life inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios.
Avicoli's restaurant, located on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, has been serving our community for decades. Your place to go for home cooking on the corner. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, we are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're going to be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever going to have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina.
Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carbolite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carbolite ice cream. Carvel to win. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, is your one-stop sports card and trading card shop. Find GG Cards and Breaks open for you Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6 and on Sundays from 10 to 5 with hockey, soccer, basketball, baseball, football, AEW, UFC. You never know what you're going to find at GG Cards and Breaks. Could be a one-on-one, could be a special autograph card, an RPA, rookie patch auto, as well as those Disney Lorcana, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, and Magic the Gathering cards, singles, packs, boxes, as well as graded cards, and a new shipment of graded cards that just came in. Find your way over to GG Cards and Breaks and get there before everybody else. You want to be there when they open. And that is Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 6, Sundays, 10 to 5. We look forward to seeing you there, where you can always be a big kid. With that being said, Murph and I, speaking of GG Cards and Breaks, it is now time for GG Cards and Breaks show and tell portion of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And, of course, I am excited to show off the cards that I got. I said last week that I had bought some stuff online. That has all come in. And I've also found some stuff when I was cleaning up my studio yesterday and felt like I needed to, my studio, my office, felt like I needed to kind of just get everything together and situated correctly. I did some box breaks, I cleaned, and I bought on eBay. And that has all created what I have here in the studio today. But I will defer, as I always do, to Murph first, so you can show off your cards, Murph.
Well, there's not a lot. And these first three cards I'm going to show you are actually all sold already. They need to be shipped out, but this is one that was a case hit, and we had no idea that it was a case hit. I've been buying a lot more basketball than I usually do, so this is interesting for me. Okay. This is out of Prism Basketball, Sublime Luka Doncic.
I did see that
one.
Like
I said, that one's already sold. Yeah, that one's already sold. All of these cards you've already seen because they are posted them all on my Instagram last night.
Yeah.
This is an RPA out of Phoenix with the blue jersey of Ladd McConkey.
Nice.
Numbered to 125. And then the last card that is already sold. And this was my first auto of this guy. I thought the card was cool. And he's got a weird signature, but it is a 2021 rookie auto out of Prism of LaMelo Ball from the Charlotte Hornets. I almost said New Orleans Hornets.
Yeah.
That's a throwback. We got this red and yellow mosaic rookie auto of Cade Cunningham. That I do still have. Picked up this really cool rainbow foil from 2017 Topps update of Aaron Judge. This was a great one that I picked up. It is from 2017 Select Football. And based on that, I think you have a pretty good idea of who it is. Patrick Mahomes.
Patty Mahomes.
Folks, I broke my rule, and it was not intentional. I only broke my rule because this card was in a lot. And if anybody wants it, please let me know. I will be happy to sell it to you. I broke my rule of not buying last year's rookie QB class. There's a lot less risk in this one. I'm not going to lose nearly as much money as I did with the other guys if I do end up losing on this. It is a Prism white checkerboard Bo Nix.
Bo!
But it has a little dimple, which you're not going to be able to see on screen, but it's right there.
Yeah.
That I have been disclosing to anybody that's been interested in this card. So
Yeah.
I'll still sell it at some point. It'll just be a matter of does the person care about the dimple or not.
Well,
this
Murph,
is
some people
one.
when
Actually, I'll save
dating,
this one for the end.
some people when they are dating, they do look for the men and women that have dimples. So you'll find somebody.
Like I said, more basketball. This is a 2020 Prism Silver Anthony Edwards PSA 9. We've got this one, which the direct sale is like $50, but a PSA 10 recently did like 200. So I moved the price up. It is a True Gem Plus of this guy, by the way. It is a 2023 Prism Blue Sparkle number to 96 of Joe Burrow. BGS 95 Gem True Gem Plus. 3 9.5s and a 10. The corners was what they got to 10. The other three were 9.5s. I don't remember if I showed this. I don't remember when I got this, to be honest. It is an XRC from Select, from 2022 Select, of Anthony Richardson. Been buying a little bit of his stuff lately.
Yeah.
And then the biggest card that I picked up, well, technically I paid the most by $5 over that Mahomes. It is a 2003 Bowman Chrome rookie of the second greatest player in the history of the NBA, LeBron James. And yes, I said second greatest, and I will stand behind that. This is definitely the most expensive LeBron rookie card I've ever owned. And BGS 9 looks really solid. So yeah, it's a cool card to have. I'll probably be selling it somewhat soon here, but we will see.
So Murph showing off his stuff here this morning, and I have a bunch of things to share with you all as well. Some of this stuff I found while cleaning my office. Other things I found because I was doing box breaks yesterday, and I've also found by going on eBay. So there's a little bit of everything that's in here. I'm going to save these ones till last, so I'm going to shift these ones over here. I'll show the basketball ones first. I got to do the box breaks yesterday. You can go and watch them. And I want to thank X, the former Twitter, for expanding the length of video, because I can show my entire box breaks on X now. Instead of simply sharing a link, I can actually show them on there directly. So you can go to Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT, or YouTube at Wake Up Call DT, and check out all of my card breaks on the playlist on the YouTube channel. And you can see the most recent card breaks, which there's 2 that we did, proudly presented by GG Cards and Breaks on 639 Delmar Place at Syracuse, New York. The first being NBA Panini Chronicles 2021-22, and the second being NBA Topps Chrome 2024-25. This is from them, so I'm going to show these to you. So we have Devin Carter, a rookie card from Sacramento that I pulled in one of the box breaks here. Because Topps can't use the logos, it's funny because when you get a Golden State card and it says the city, it does not say Golden State. It actually says San Francisco because that's where they played. So, or that's where they play. Antonio Reeves, this is a pink parallel rookie card for the New Orleans Pelicans. It looks like it's on fire. So I got a bunch of cool rookies in here. Jonathan Mogbo, rookie card for the Toronto Raptors, my team. There's one jersey which is so crazy. It looks like you have no idea what team it is. It's like a white jersey, tiny number, little bit of yellow, I think, on the sides of it. This is Alexander Sarr, and this is a refractor pink parallel of his Washington rookie that I pulled from Chrome. And then we have Davion Mitchell. This is a marquee refractor rookie card of the Sacramento King rookie, and this is from Panini, so they can use the logo. It's on the front and back. Then we have Quinton Post, and you can see this one where it says San Francisco as opposed to Golden State. And then we have Cam Spencer from Memphis. This is his rookie card. This is a sick rookie card refractor green of Terrence Shannon Jr. for the Timberwolves. This card is really, really awesome in person to see how it kind of dazzles. And then I have a second year, love this card. It's a second year refractor that looks like it's got Gambit from X-Men shooting out his cards that are charged, and it's all around Victor Wembanyama second year card. And it's just a pretty looking card. Nice. Then I
bought and sold another Wemby yesterday.
Yeah, he's one that people continue to run after. Jalen Suggs. Why do I like it? Well, I've covered Orlando. I love the city. I love Gonzaga. This is his rookie card, and it is also a refractor.
Uh-oh, there goes the camera focus.
It went right in. Apparently, my camera also likes Gonzaga.
Zooming in tight.
Yeah, my camera likes the Zags as well. This is a Scotty Barnes rookie card. It's a pink parallel, and you could see the pink on the bottom there for Scotty Barnes. And the funny thing is, first card of the first box break yesterday, pulled a Raptor. Second box break, first card, pulled a Raptor. And so you just saw Scotty on that one here, which was part of the box break. And then I got a marquee pink parallel refractor rookie card of Trey Mann for Oklahoma City. So got a nice one there. So that's my basketball stuff. And then here is, I'm going to show these next. I have a next level Sage of Drew Aller, the quarterback at Penn State. So we got a next level one of his. And then I pulled a bunch of these.
Don't really need to take the logos off of that one.
I know.
They don't have any logos on their jerseys.
That's the beauty of it, that Penn State's not Penn State's. Well, you can't even use our colors, make us pink and green. So they, because they don't have the logo. Good call, Murph. So this is a next level Sage insert. And this is an autograph here of Keenan Kristen. And I love this. It's a really nice looking card, and he used the entire space. Look at how massive that space is, and he used it all. I appreciate when they do that. Then I got Tyler Huff, a quarterback here from Sage, his autograph. Why am I showing you these? Well, folks, because I pulled a Jackson Dart way before I knew who he was, and probably a lot of you might have known who he was. So I take these out, and I hold on to them. So this has Bryson Nesbitt, and the sticker that they put on, they actually put way off center here. The sticker's coming right to the side here, so they were doing that one quickly. And then I have these that come in a case from Pulse, so it's just by itself in case. They've never been open. So I have Kamari Morales, his autograph from North Carolina. And then from Virginia Tech, I have Allie Jennings, and I believe that I interviewed Jennings here. So it's cool that not only did I get these Pulse, you just get one auto in the box, but that they're both from the ACC, and I cover the ACC very heavily, so I thought that was fun. And then I do want to showcase these I found yesterday in my Mosaic box that I apparently was not paying attention to. This is a Brian Thomas Jr. rookie insert from Mosaic. Then I also have some Hall of Famers. So I have Tom Flores in his Hall of Fame speech.
Ooh.
I have a green refractor of Ed Reed's Hall of Fame speech. I have a notoriety Marvin Harrison Jr. in his full Arizona garb, rookie. So that was a great one. This is a great one too. This is my mosaic refractor rookie card of Michael Penix Jr. And this was just sitting in the box because I forgot about it. And then this guy is apparently up for potential trade discussions. This is Trey Hendrickson. This is the National Pride red, white, and blue mosaic refractor of the Cincinnati Bengal that may or may not be a Cincinnati Bengal at the start of the season. Then I just thought this was cool. This is a refractor of Topps, and this is Urban Legends Joe Montana. I have the Prestige Michael Penix of the Diamond refractor and the regular rookie here. I love him with the portrait. Reminds me of old cards. So I have that. I have a refractor rookie card of Drake May called Youthquake. Once again, folks, these are cards that I didn't even know I had. And a Future Stars of Mr. Brock Bowers. So I'm sure I can sell some of these at a trade night. I'm going to go ahead and put these off to the side. And now it's time for me to show you what I bought recently here. This is my first Joe Montana autograph. It's a Pro Set refractor of Mr. Montana. So I got that here. It is numbered, and it is numbered 6 out of 20. Then I pulled these babies from eBay. We have a PSA 9 rated rookie retro of Michael Penix Jr. So you got a PSA 9 there of Penix in his full NFL garb. You have a Gem Mint 10 PSA of this pink parallel refractor of Zay Flowers rookie. You have Devontae Smith's mosaic refractor Gem Mint 10 grade here of Devontae. You have the multicolored chrome refractor rated rookie Zay Flowers. That is a Gem Mint 10. And you have a Gem Mint 10 refractor vortex of Marvin Harrison, all in their NFL gear. So 4 10s and a 9 in that. And then these are my last 3 to show you. This one you may have already seen, but I made a trade for this at GG Cards and Breaks last trade night, which was at the Wildcat. It looks like a Queen of Hearts card. It's my first card I ever got with Kyle McCord on the Syracuse Orange. And it is one of 3 of this refractor. And then I just pulled in these beautiful babies. We have Kyle McCord's auto with the Eagles. Panini with the Eagles on the back of it here. It says Turn of the Century. So that's Kyle McCord in his Syracuse garb, plus the Eagles logo and his autograph. And this one is numbered out of 499. And then this one, there's different ones, but of this green color of its kind, there is only 3, and this is the second of the 3 that exist in the world of this beautiful Syracuse Kyle McCord with his massive signature. Next to it, he does the Kyle McC, and he puts the 6 on it. And so this Kyle McCord is now home with me. I don't know how long these will be in my home presence as I have sold. But keep in mind, folks, I also have another Kyle McCord auto, which is an Ohio State one. I sold the other 2 autos that I had of him and just really highly priced. Definitely one of them was a lot higher than I thought it was, and I sold them with my Aronde Gadsden auto and my 2 Aronde rookies. So now I have 3 Kyle McCord autos, 2 Syracuse ones, and now 3 Syracuse cards of Kyle McCord. So shout out to getting my McCords back in-house. And I definitely think that this one's probably going to get one of the new easels I just bought and be left here in the studio for Mr. McCord. So thanks to all my eBay dealers. You did a great job. A lot of them got them here quick. And one guy worked with me really well on the shipping and the tax and all that stuff. So I want to give a shout out to everybody that got these over to me. And thanks for the good deals. I appreciate it very much. Any final notes, Murph?
Hopefully the Mets can figure things out this week. So hopefully by this time next week, I'm a little bit more optimistic about my team, but that's pretty much all I got today.
That coming from Murph. And of course, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, we thank you for being with us Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And we thank Murph for being with us on Mondays. And of course, make sure that you check out our social media so you can connect with us and find out what's coming up here. And I do want to make a note here really quick, Murph, while I got you. What SEC school would you put money on right now to make this year's college football playoff? Georgia, Alabama, Florida, or LSU? I did not put Texas on this one. Want to see what people thought of these four? 44.4% have picked Georgia, 11.1% Alabama, and 22.2% for LSU and for Florida. And then for your Gators, and then in the ACC, who would you put money on to go into the 2025-26 college football playoff this season? SMU got 0%. Always underestimated. Fine with them. They'll go out and do what they got to do. Keep in mind, Kevin Jennings has returned at quarterback in a college football world who lose their quarterbacks from year to year. He's returning to SMU. Miami got 18.2% of the votes. FSU got 13.6%. And unsurprisingly, Clemson claimed the majority of the votes with 68.2%. Murph, are you willing to put your feet to the fire and tell me and the world that the Gators will go to this year's college football playoff?
I don't know.
People believe in DJ Lagway.
I do. The answer is yes. Obviously, I want them to go. Do I think they will? That is a good question. We've still got DJ for 2 more years. So even if it's not this year, it could easily be next year. But I still don't believe in Billy Napier. I don't like what he does coaching-wise on the field. He has lost us many games in the past. I think coaching could screw us this year. I really do.
Okay.
Do I think they can make the playoff? Absolutely, I do. I think they can. To answer that question, I think all of the above on all 4 of those teams possibly making the playoff. But for me, I don't know. I might sprinkle a little bit of money on it right now. I'm not going to, but I might. But I don't believe in Billy Napier. I mean, you heard me calling for his head middle of last season before they rattled off a few wins in a row to close out the year. Yeah. Like, he was terrible. It was not our fault. It was not our team's fault. He was terrible. Plus, the schedule is brutal. Absolutely brutal. So we'll see what happens there. But to answer the question, as of right now, I would say no.
Okay.
But I would not be surprised if they do.
All right. Well, some think they're a year off. Some think DJ Lagway, and this season could be the season. We shall see. The other orange and blue, the Syracuse Orange, will be having their practice and press conference today with Fran Brown, and I will be there. And so those of you on social media asking me what time the press conference is, I cannot disclose that information to you per Syracuse Athletics, and I also cannot disclose it to you because they haven't been on time in weeks. So I can't even tell you when it's going to be because it's not necessarily going to be that time. Murph, as always, I appreciate having you here on the show, and I look forward to talking with you very soon, and I hope you have a great week.
Yes, sir, my friend. You as well.
Thank you. That coming from Murph here inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. I want to thank you for being a part of the show here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And, of course, being here with us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You are with us up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. So thank you for being with us. And, of course, you're also finding Wake Up Call on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Make sure to follow and subscribe when you're there. You can also ask Alexa and your Google Home devices to play the latest episode of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and they'll do that for you as well. I want to thank our North Carolinian listeners and visitors, as well as viewers down in Southern Pines, North Carolina at the Brooklyn Pickle. Hope you're enjoying some lunch this morning, going into the early afternoon. And, of course, we look forward to you heading out to the Brooklyn Pickle on 1788 Old Morganton Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina, right down the road from Pinehurst Golf Course. And many thanks to our team of partners in Central and Upstate New York, Great Lakes Honda City, as well as Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Breaks, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Pizza Man, Ma and Pa's, the snack capital of the world, Brian's Landing, Avicoli's, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Mother's Cupboard, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Chick-fil-A DeWitt, and of course we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse. You'll find the Bobcats every month in what we call the Bobcat Buzz. Student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni joining the show here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You'll find all of our content by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our BSC Syracuse playlist. The Bobcats are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com and go Bobcats. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is also the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Binghamton University Bearcats. You'll find the Bearcats every Tuesday during Bearcat Time at 10 a.m. Eastern Time worldwide. Student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni joining me all throughout the year to tell the story of Binghamton University, and you'll find all of that by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, find the Binghamton playlist. Very excited this week to have Paul Marco joining me again to jump into his 2025 men's soccer season with the Binghamton Bearcats. And last week, jumping into the women's soccer season, Neil Bhattacharjee, the head coach of the women's team for Binghamton University. And shout out to that team. The Bearcats won their season opener 2-1. So God bless on that. You'll find it all, like I said, on the Binghamton playlist on our YouTube channel. You'll also find the Bearcats on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to binghamtonbearcats.com and go Bearcats. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, I want to thank Murph and, of course, Ma and Pa's for giving us what's poppin' for the day. Shout out to Murph in our conversation on Major League Baseball, the NFL, and, of course, Sports Card Show and Tell, brought to you by the best place to get your cards in Central and Upstate New York, GG Cards and Breaks. We'll talk with you all soon. You'll see us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at wakeupcall_DT. I've been airing my ACC specials, and I'll have every single team going out there. Currently, you can go on to our YouTube channel as well as onto our Facebook channel, and you can see what we have there for you. If you go onto our YouTube channel or our Facebook channel, and either one of those, youtube.com and facebook.com, both /wakeupcalldt, I want to let you know that currently we have student athlete specials as well as head coach specials with these schools that are out there right now for you to watch. We have SMU, as well as currently on Facebook and YouTube channels, we have Miami, we have Virginia, as well as Cal, Stanford. And I want to make sure I got them all here. Yeah, so those are the ones we have out here for you right now. We have Stanford, we have Cal, we have Virginia, we have Miami, and we have SMU. You can watch those videos in my ACC 2025-26 season preview for college football. You can see those on our YouTube channel. I'll be sharing them on X as well, and they're already up on Facebook, so make sure you check those out. We'll be airing our American specials and the rest of the ACC, so make sure you don't miss a moment of it. Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, X at CallDT, Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT, and we look forward to talking with you soon. From the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, I say, God bless. No stress. Do your best. Thanks for being awesome. We'll talk soon. God is great. Can't thank you enough.